Thanks for coming to the curriculum breakout room where Amy Defoe, science teacher, curriculum extraordinaire, and myself, Jeff Kissinger, will be going over how Amy has been using short little micro videos using a free tool called FlipGrid to create more presence, provide feedback, to create more authentic context for students, to engage. She does a lot of things with them. So easy to use tool, and we'll get started here in a second and give folks a minute or two to join. And Amy, I can go ahead and give you host access if you want to share. Sounds or I can drive. Okay, all right, let me do that. And if you all are using Zoom and you want to make somebody a host, you just go to the participants list and you can do that. So let me find Amy. There she is. All right, I'm going to make you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen. Okay. We'll get started here in a second. Yeah, Lori, you know, FlipGrid's a really neat tool. When I first came across it, actually, let me provide a little context and then we'll kick it over. You know what, Amy, go ahead. You've already shared your screen. I'll verbally provide some context. So I've used a tool similar to FlipGrid. It's called Voicethread to do the same thing. It's kind of a video tool that you can have discussions that are non-real time, asynchronous. So you can comment on a video with a video or text or audio. Very engaging, very good way to kind of see and feel and be a human part of the interactions. You know, beyond just text that we seem to use a lot of, which is fine, but it's a way to sort of build your human and your teaching presence. FlipGrid came out after that and then eventually became free, which was great. And then Amy and I were playing around with her science courses and we found it to be a good way for her to, again, create more of that teacher presence, to provide that human feedback, an opportunity to respond and interact and engage. And she's had some a lot of fun with it. I mean, she's gone off on beaches, and I think that you were in your kitchen. Anyway, let's look at some of the things. I'm going to kick it over to Amy and let her share, and then we'll pause a little bit and see if there are questions that you all want to verbally share. And of course, I'll be monitoring the group chat as well. So I'll kick it over to you, Amy.
Thanks, Jeff. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry, my speakers just went out. Good old technology. We just roll with it. Well, thanks you guys for joining. So I was going to talk a little bit about micro videos and then actually walk you through and show you FlipGrid and show you how easy it is to use. And it's pretty fun. My kiddos were using it last night. They were getting a kick out of it. So just to, again, go over, you know, why we use these videos and how, again, to create that teacher presence. When our students are at home, we still want to make sure that our presence as being their instructor and educator is there. And of course, it's more engaging and it's motivating for students to see us, making it, again, relevant to their lives and making the connections as well. So I was going to talk about FlipGrid and then quickly touch on YouTube and Screencastomatic as well, if that works.
Perfect. And I think that's a really good, you know, comment, Amy. There are so many tools out there. One of the themes that came up this week, I think early on, was, you know, what do I start? Find one that you like and that's easy and works for you. If you like FlipGrid, or if you like simply doing some YouTube videos, or however you want to do it, choose one that works for you and use that, and focus on your teaching and learning and engaging your students and creating that presence versus being, you know, just wed to a particular technology or technology.
Exactly. And then also don't get overwhelmed. I like these three are great because with FlipGrid, it's, you know, quick little videos, and you can do it also from your phone. There's an app that you can do it from your phone as well. And I found that you can embed it. If you are using Google Classroom, there's an embed link right there in FlipGrid for Google Classroom, as well as Remind. I know that's another one that educators are using. YouTube, it's easy to use, and the time limit on it is open. And so I wanted to put that one in there, but I know a lot of people with in schools, they don't want to use the YouTube, you know, parent controls or it's blocked, and I understand that, but I wanted to hit upon it just a little bit. And then Screencastomatic, I like that for if you're showing students how to do something, you can just, you know, it takes a video of what you're doing on your computer, and it shows it right there for them. So how I've used it in my videos, how I use my videos in my lessons. I use it in my intro video just to, again, get that face-to-face communication with them, enhance lesson content to make it relevant to them. As you can see, you know, I talked about the snow. I'll show you some other examples I've done, but you can use it to model something like creating a presentation, using a Dropbox, any type of tech stuff that might be something that you've got to teach your students. These are great tools to use. And then of course, performing experiments there. Let me go up here. So when you go to FlipGrid, it's going to ask you to create an account. And again, like Jeff said, this is free. So I already have an account created right here, but that's all you have to do to log in is just fill it out. We're logging in. And then it takes you to, it's going to ask you to create these grids. And grids I think of as like a classroom, or maybe different content areas in your classroom. Like I have a couple here. I have one for my earth science, and I have one for biology as well. Before I show you guys, demonstrate how to do this, I did want to show you a couple things. FlipGrid is offering, they have this little blog about learning from home and how to incorporate it. I thought that could be helpful there as well for you guys. And then they also have a very easy educator step-by-step guide as well that kind of shows you that. When you set up FlipGrid, it's going to ask you, when you make a grid, you can create community types. And all that means is who's getting access to it. So you can use, you know, if you just want to use your, like if you're using your students' emails, you can create it as a school email. You can use it as a student ID list, but I have found, and what Jeff and I have found, is doing this PLC and public. This gives you a link so that then you can just shoot off a link. You know, you can send it through text message, you can embed it in your Google Classroom. So I think that's the one I've been using. It's been much easier for me. So, okay, so let me show you. You get here, you're gonna make your grids. So all you do is add a new grid, and it says, okay, let's make a grid, super easy. We'll make this demo will be the name of our grid, okay? And so you give it a title, and then here again is where it's gonna ask you, how are you going to make this accessible to other people? So I'm gonna go ahead and say public PLC, and then it's gonna give me this code, and it's gonna give it to you at the end as well once you publish it. So then we click next. You can add a password. I've never used a password. And then, okay, your grid is ready. So that this is gonna be your link once you create your grid. In here, here's an embed code. So you can embed this if you are working maybe in Moodle, or if you're sending an email to students, you can copy that in there. And then here again, you can share it to Google Classroom or share on Remind. So,
got a quick question, Amy. So Rachel Lake is asking about setting up one with a school email. So, and how you could make those. So as far as I understand, Rachel, and it looks like Tom is got a question too. When you set it up with a Gmail or a school email, there should be ways to limit access to just that particular community and that group. So, you know, we can dig further on that and look at that. But I believe that's how it works. I have not taught with it and done it myself, but a lot of K-12 educators are using this in face-to-face, online, and blended. But I believe that's a way to limit access to just your group. And I think that relates to your question as well, Tom. You know, what Amy is sharing is using the videos to just embed or link to her course inside of her learning management system, like a Google Classroom. But if she chose the option to have a student use their Gmail account or having a particular school email address, it would limit it to just that community. And I believe there are admin controls within that as well. And I understand, that some, teachers would want to do that. The way Amy's been doing it is that she's primarily been using it as a sort of a micro video, kind of like announcements, feedback, kind of demonstration video tool. But to both of y'all's points, if you did want, part of the power, I think, in terms of interaction with something like a FlipGrid or a Voicethread is the ability for me to respond and have that asynchronous conversation and to build that community. So you're right. You would want to limit it to just that group if it was for, your classroom. And Crystal had a quick question. I'm sorry, Amy, I'll pass it over to you. I wanted to see hello. Oh, okay. I wanted to use the say hello option. But, well, hello, Crystal. I'm going to pass it over to Amy. Thanks for the good questions, Tom and Rachel.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so I've taken, once I get done showing you how quick it is to use the videos, I can show you how I've put them into a course. But I think just having that link to what it is that you do is going to make it accessible just to the group that you give it to as well. Okay, so I made the grid, and so here we have it titled demo. Again, this could be like, science, or it could be week, could be the week, or it could be just the day. And then under here, you can create, this is where you then create the actual videos here. So I'm going to add a new topic, and adding a new topic is essentially adding a new video. We'll do test video. Sorry, I'm not being creative with my titles today. Test video. In here you can ask a question. How do I make a video? You could give your students a little kind of question prompt, or what to look for in your video, or what this means. And then you just move right along down here, it guides you right through it. And then you can add, this is where you then add your video. And right here, you just record it right from your web camera. There it is. And it'll give you a countdown, kind of nice, get you ready. And then you get to do your video. Hi everybody, Amy Defoe, demonstrating how we use FlipGrid in our classroom. I'll pause that there. You can add, there's all sorts of different little tools that you can use. You can create a text box. You can make yourself look better with a filter if you want to, add some stickers, whatnot. Then you click that next button. Nice, get you ready. And then you get to do your video. Hi everybody, Amy Defoe, demonstrating how we use FlipGrid in our classroom. Okay, nice, get you ready. And then you gotta take a selfie. So it sets that all up for you. There's your video. There's your, oh, nice selfie, Amy. Sorry, guys. I'm not gonna waste your time to go back and make it the perfect picture. Okay, you click complete, and then here is what you get. So you've got then your topic, you've got your, anything you want to say to your students, and then there's your video. Create topic is the last little step there. And here again is that code. So, or link, we'll say the link. So here you can just copy it and then insert it. Again, if you're sending an email to your students, this is where you could just put that link into the email. I've never embedded it into or used it in Remind or Google Classroom, but this you can send it via text message as well.
It looks like there's some embed code there too. So we had a
Yeah.
question earlier about a learning management system, and if you copy the embed code and if you use whatever Google Classroom or Moodle or Canvas or Blackboard, or you would be able to embed that inside of your course or SoftChalk or however you want to display it.
Yep. And final one, all set. And there you can see that. You can always, if you want to go back and look at maybe ones that you've done in the past, you can go back and click on the share and it'll give you those topics. So so there it shows you now I have my 3 grids. This is my demo that I did that just included that little video. And then these are some of the ones that I have from Earth Science. And this is just showing you guys some examples of how I've used it in my science courses. Sometimes I'll take a topic that's kind of hard, redshift and shift, the Big Bang Theory, and I'll do a quick little video to kind of give the students a little bit better understanding of it. Or maybe I'll do a little demonstration. Here I was demonstrating the plate boundaries using some candy bars and stuff like that. So showing the students that.
Is there one from the group here that looks interesting that you'd like to see? I think Amy does a really amazing, authentic job of coming off as with her teaching presence and sort of these authentic, real world examples that I think students can relate to. Of any of the ones we're looking at, aside from the ones that we have already seen on Wednesday, any of those that you all would want to take a vote on to maybe play right now, or we can even share the URL. I'll do some small wait time here. Yeah, so Andrea, that's the little statistic. That is, and you all are free to we're a small group. If you all want to jump in on the voice, we can do that too. But I believe that is also the response video. So students and anybody can, who's in your community can respond, to those videos. So, and I think someone wanted to see actions, the options on actions as well, but we can play one too. So you see there on actions, you can record a response, add topics, hide a topic, move it, export it, delete it. Does it show who's watched it? I believe so. There are some stats that you can. But let's put,
yeah.
Go ahead.
There's different versions, I think, with FlipGrid that you can go and purchase.
Yeah, you can upgrade.
That gives you more options, but yeah.
Yeah, let's watch one. I kind of like the red shift. I think that's a good one. But whatever you want to do, Amy, whichever you want to share. We can share the URL too.
Hey, let's talk about a kind of a hard topic, redshift and blue shift, and how this helps us understand the Big Bang Theory. Okay, so we have the electromagnetic spectrum, and what that does is it shows us energy in different forms. And the type of energy that we can see is visible light, okay? And so when we measure visible light, we're measuring the wavelengths. And scientists can measure the wavelength of a galaxy to see if it's moving towards us or away from us. When an object is moving towards us, the wavelengths of that energy, this is blue shift, they get closer, they scrunch up together, so that wavelength gets shorter and shorter. Moving towards us, there's more energy here. The opposite is true with the red shift. With the red shift, it's moving away from us. The wavelengths spread apart. There's a lower frequency here, okay? So when scientists measure the visible light from a galaxy, they're seeing that it's red shifted, that the wavelengths are slower, it's a lower frequency, they're more spread out. And how this helps us understand and provide evidence for the Big Bang Theory is that when they're measuring these galaxies, they're red shifted. So they have that lower wavelength, they're expanding, they're still moving farther away, showing that the universe is still expanding.
We had a couple of questions. Thank you for sharing that, Amy. So Tom asked, or Kristen asked first, what does it mean about engagement? So students can respond with a video. So that's that you can have sort of a conversation, like a asynchronous, non-real-time video, threaded discussion like you do kind of with text. And Tom, can you upload an image? That's a good question, Amy. Have you ever seen the option when you recorded, and we can try it right now, to upload an image? I think maybe. It looked like there was a few options, Tom, when she was doing that. Let's go check it out. And again, you all can jump in on the voice too. I mean, like to hear from you all as well if you want. Just unmute your mics. Okay, looks like you can upload a video. You can, yeah, looks like you can, Tom. What was the application you were thinking, Tom, with the image, where you were just wanting to sort of upload maybe a, I don't know, a diagram of photosynthesis or something and kind of talk over it?
In her example of her Redshift video, she could have talked for a while, and then it cuts to computer graphic that shows the visible light spectrum.
Yeah.
And then back to her video. So you'd need a video editing to pop that computer image in a cut that you make in her video. So does this FlipGrid have the ability to video edit stuff in and out?
I don't believe so, but Amy, have you come across that?
Yeah, no, I don't think that it does have that.
So can you export a FlipGrid video as a standard video file and bring that into another video editing program?
Now that I'm pretty sure you can do, because when we hit the actions earlier, I think there was an export option. It's probably like an MP4 file or something. That'd be my guess. Another way to kind of do what you're talking about, Tom, and when you look at these, what are they called? They're called grids. Grids, those are kind of like thematic collections. So if it was on Redshift, a teacher could maybe tee it up with her, like Amy did with her presence, and kind of introduce the concept. And then, like to your point, maybe the second FlipGrid video in that grid, that could be the the image that you were talking about, and then your voice talking over it. But there's several ways, but I believe under actions, if you wanted to export it and use like an iMovie or whatever you use under actions, Amy, I think that there was an export option here.
Yep, there was.
So export data, I don't know, that might be usage data. You may not actually, Tom, but you could do it the other way that I mentioned. It looks like there's a way to, and it sounds like you're a multimedia person, so I believe that you can import too. So when Amy first created hers, so if whatever video tool that you use, Camtasia, whatever, you could do it on something like that and then import it probably as well.
That would be good if they had an import feature and you could put that into a grid.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's try that. Yep. Thank you, Amy.
All right.
Upload a video, add a video.
Okay.
So if you had on your local machine, looks like you could, and then maybe if you had it already up on your YouTube or Vimeo account, you could do it too, looks like.
Okay, great, thank you.
So I had a question because I actually experimented with FlipGrid this morning, and with one of my students who's also my child, and I was trying to make it so that way when a student responds, because that's what I'm going to be using it for, is making a video and having them respond to it, making it so when they upload it, it immediately is hidden so other students cannot see it. Mm-hmm. And I went through not a ton of their information, but I went through a lot of their information trying to figure out, is that an automatic setting? And as far as I could tell this morning, it's not an automatic setting. I have to go through and hide all the videos as soon as they upload it. Mm. Have you ever experienced having a student respond?
We use student response within our LMS. So I tie this into my lessons, and then the discussion thread comes through our LMS. Am I explaining that correctly, Jeff?
Yeah, and I think it's a good question too, Rachel. And frankly, it may not be possible or with the free version. But to Amy's point, I totally get what you're saying. You want to sort of you want to exercise some stage classroom management online and make sure that, you know, the videos have been reviewed by you before they're, you know, available to the wider class. So that might be something that we need to research and see if that's possible. I'd be surprised, you know, then again, it might be the free version versus the upgraded versions. I think there's a couple levels, but I'd be surprised if that hadn't come up in the past, you know. You can get creative. I think here's a general statement I'll say about a lot of these tools and things. You know, there's always a workaround, to Tom's kind of question earlier, you know, and you can get creative. And to Amy's point, she just uses them as sort of like a launching pad, sort of the teacher presence launching pad. And then she has students interact and so that she can control within her learning management system behind that password protection, and she could administer, you know, within there. So we can research that and kind of find out. Frankly, I don't know at this point if you can do it only within FlipGrid. I think it goes back to some of the things that I've been kind of saying all along, practically, like find the tool that works for you. You know, if FlipGrid isn't it, because you definitely want to have that management feature, maybe Voicethread is, maybe you want to be just, you know, use simple a YouTube video or something like that. So, you know, you want to be flexible, you know, when, you know, we come across, you know, with our own LMS, you know, from time to time working with teachers where there's something that they want to do pedagogically that we research, and sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, but in my experience, there's always a creative workaround where you work within the medium, you work within the confines of what you have at your fingertips. So, but that's a good question. Thank you, Rachel. Other questions, Tom?
Just so did we say you cannot export a FlipGrid video, or you can?
Try it real quick, Amy. It says export data. Let's see what happens. Let's learn together. Is there a download or? Oh, no, it's a data file. It's a CSV file.
Wasn't there? Where was that big screen that had the import and like they had like 12 different things on it?
That was when you were adding and you were creating a new one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let me do a quick Google search. As we get more questions, let me see if there's a export FlipGrid video.
I'll go ahead and move, and I'll talk a little bit about YouTube. So again, you can use YouTube videos to help make that connection with your students. I know I've seen some of the responses talking about, you know, I just want to check in with my students. I just want them to see my face. I want to just send them a message. See, I think that's another great use for that, using FlipGrid. And then also with YouTube, I found it's really great, especially in science. You know, I get to do these labs and I can do demonstrations and show them cool places around the area that I live in and cool places that I visited, and I can show them this. And again, if you have ever...
Hey everybody, Amy Defoe with Graduation Alliance.
Sorry.
Today, we're going to talk about those 3 types of
autism. So that. I just wanted to show you how easy it is to, again, share after you make a video using YouTube. You can, you know, get the link right there. And again, this is something that you can then just copy and paste. When you have just the link there, you can send it, you know, by text message, by email, by Google Classroom. I'm not sure, you know, whatever tool it is that you guys are using, but also has that embed function there too. The other one, Screencastomatic. This is a me walking through the steps, and then I shared that with my students. But this is also super helpful if you're asking students to, you know, maybe they've never lost you all.
Yeah, Tom and I were just kind of, I lost you and then he lost you. I think you're back. So if it happens again, maybe your video, but if it happens again, maybe it was just a little glitch. Glitch in the matrix.
Sorry.
Not your fault.
Okay. Where did I lose you guys all at? Did I go through YouTube? Did I get on the Screencast-O-Matic
I kind of missed it all. I don't know about everybody else. I mean, one note about Screencast-O-Matic, we use it a lot, and it's been free. And it's a great tool, and we use a paid version too, but it's really inexpensive for just the educator license, the single educator license, and really, really helpful. You can do like the picture-in-picture with your talking head, and you can export, upload it to. Yeah. Oh, you know what? Another neat thing about Screencast-O-Matic is that with the paid version, I think you can do automatic closed captioning too, which of course you can do for free in YouTube. But sorry, Amy.
No, you're good. No, it's, I was saying yesterday I took a screencast of me going through a virtual lab that I had access to that my students didn't. And so I did a screencast walking them through, this virtual simulation. And then I can just send that out to them. I also find this super helpful if you're trying to teach your students how to do something on their computers, technology-wise. If you're trying to, teach them how to open up a document, create a document, save, upload a document, or attach a file if they're trying to send you something. So using Screencast-O-Matic, so many helpful ways that can be used in your classroom as well.
Amy, I don't know if you do it, but I know that some of our teachers have students use Screencast-O-Matic to do their presentations and share their presentations. So and I think that there's a 5-minute limit, which I've never seen a student go beyond 5 minutes, but who knows, for the free version.
I think I did a research on it yesterday. I think it was 12 minutes.
Oh, wow,
but yeah,
okay.
I don't think you probably don't want that long, huh?
Yeah.
But again, this is the free one, and it's super easy. You just launch it. I'll just show you how quick and easy it is. Again, you have to, of course, create a logon, but again, this is totally free. And then
yeah, I think it launches over your browser, right?
Yep, we should see the box. There it is. And so then you'll see this outline is what it will show, what it will record.
I don't think it's showing the outline.
Oh, you guys can't see. Oh, probably.
And it might just be because Zoom doesn't show that overlay. But your little picture right here with the pyramids, that little dot, everybody, that's what she's talking about. You'll get that. It'll still be your browser, but that'll be the area that you're recording.
Yep. And then you can see right there, they have a little record button, and you just push record and it'll give you a countdown. And then when you're finished, there's a done button right there. And then you can save it to your computer, save it as a file, and then you can send that out. Really simple to use and helpful.
Questions about Screencast-O-Matic or just video in general? We could even talk about engagement and creating your teacher presence. I know that when I started to dabble with video years ago, I got a lot of the cliche kind of feedback from students, but they basically, they were like, I like to see that you're actually, there, you're a real human being kind of thing.
Yeah.
And not that you have to do a billion videos, or have every communication come through as a video. You got visual learners, and you have, learners that like to write and type. And I think that when you create teacher presence, and I think Amy does this very elegantly, is that you create your own personal fingerprint, personality stamp in your announcements, in your email, in your feedback one-on-one to the class as a whole. And that's also, aligned with the person that you present via, FlipGrid or whatever, so it's really homing what you do in the face-to-face classroom. I know that all of you who have been teaching, for a while, or maybe, a few years, your students and the student body, they get to know you as your personality. And I think that when you're talking about trying to engage that learner who's disappeared on you, or in the digital back of the class, or not even in the class, the more we can create our personality and our teaching presence, that's going to be more engaging and draw learners back in, and then hopefully get them to engage with some of these abstract topics that they haven't been exposed to before, and learn. But other questions or comments or things, Amy, I really appreciate you sharing some of your work here. Have you ever used Screencastomatic, Amy, or FlipGrid on your phone?
I've used FlipGrid quite a bit on my phone. I've never used Screencastomatic before on my phone, but FlipGrid all of the time, because Jeff knows I like to travel, and I never know where I'm going to end up. And I know, like, some of these, wherever I go, I'll be like, oh my goodness, what a cool little thing. Like, I was in San Francisco and went to a science museum there, and I saw some great exhibits. So I just pulled my phone out and FlipGrid it real quick.
Amy, do you mind if I share the URL to your FlipGrid to the group here, if they want to explore some of your cool videos?
No, go for it.
Okay. I don't know if this is your main one. This is Amy's Earth Science News.
Yeah, that's going to go just to the Earth Science one.
The video, maybe, okay. So if you have your main one, if you wanted to pop it in that group chat, or ping it to me into our Google chat, I'll pop it in there. But other questions or even ideas, any creative sort of ideas or juices flowing in terms of, hey, I could use this for this, I could use it for this course or for this assignment, or maybe, Tom had a comment or question. Are there searchable archive of other teachers' FlipGrids? That's a good question. I've not looked for them, Tom, and I know you were interested in the SoftChalk cloud for lessons. But Amy, have you come across any archives of other teachers sharing?
Yeah, we've got some that you can take a look at. They give it to kind of give you some ideas, I guess, to kind of get started.
And Rachel had a question for Claire in the group here. Claire, what are you thinking about using it for? But I think I think that's what those mixtapes are, Tom. Just kind of have to explore and kind of see. I get an email every now and then from FlipGrid, just different teachers, how, some content they've created, how they're using it. I think overall they're using it to keep students engaged in a way that might be, a little fun. The stickers and the emojis and things like that. Thematically, there are creative ways to use those, and I think that, for students, I think that can be interesting and part of the familiarity of their digital lives and their lives, I think. And there's Amy's main link, Claire's her response. I have been making videos with explanations on my lessons, but for this time, but I also do it for kids when they are sick. Good point. And I normally just use my YouTube channel and have them unlisted. Was trying to see if this was easier. Good. Yeah, definitely. How are things added to the Disco library? Lori, I have not used the Disco.
I have not, yeah. I think this is that Disco library is kind of just a collection of ones that others have posted.
Yeah, looks like it's related to what Tom was asking about. So yeah, Tom, why reinvent the wheel if Amy's already done a really neat, piece on water pollution in Bali? I think it's appropriate. I do it in my own teaching. If I found something, whether I created it or not, or whether I know the person or not, if it's a good concrete encapsulation and kind of something that's engaging and fun, maybe that students could get into, then use it.
Yeah.
Disco is discovery, I guess. Yep.
This shows, I guess, you can connect with other educators by, you can search grade level, subject, or, area on the map.
Yeah, FlipGrid seems to be super heavy used with K-12. I've kind of watched it over the years. Voicethread in my, which I've used, seems to be used more in higher ed. You can use them for anything, you know. It's just finding that sort of sweet spot of instructionally, what are you trying to do or measure or you know, move in terms of student learning, you know, and what's the tool or tools that's going to be most aligned to what you're doing. Does it have a poll? Right. Tom had a question about earlier. Did Deborah use SoftChalk for the poll? She used Zoom for the poll. So in Zoom, you have a polling functionality, Tom. And it would just kind of, it pops up whenever you launch a poll, and then you can show the results like she did. Rachel Lake had a comment. There are a lot of music teachers who use it for checking and understanding the performances. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you shared that, Rachel. So we built a music class, and I really wanted to, you know, meet the standards of performance, right? So probably another topic for another day. But we didn't use FlipGrid, but you certainly could have, you know. But yeah, I love your thinking. You know, I think that you're right there. You know, like how do you, you know, sort of like don't worry about traditional kind of evidence of learning if you're, you know, you're in the digital space. Could you have students be more engaged and more likely to want to do an assignment if they did do the presentation, you know, via video or demonstration of their musical prowess or whatever? Good point. Other questions and comments? Don't want to take up too much of your valuable time, everybody, but we're happy to talk about. Andrea had a comment. I've forgotten what type of platform SoftChalk is used for. So SoftChalk, Andrea, is really, if you go to the cloud, go to the SoftChalk cloud, I can post the URL here. I will here in a second, and I'll let Amy jump in. SoftChalk is really just an easy, now free for a limited time, I think for this summer. And also the instructor teacher license is not that expensive. It's used primarily to create lessons and assessments. There it is. I don't need to bring it up there. Amy's brought it up. And super easy to use. I started using it probably, and this is going to show my age, probably in 2005 with faculty at a community college. And, you know, we've been using it here for about 4 years with Amy and the Teachers of Graduation Alliance. And it's just a simple way to make lessons and quizzes and assessments that can be scored and emailed to a learner in a very simple way. It can be scored and then linked into your learning management system. But I was talking to Tom about this the other day, and in the cloud, there's a repository, a shared repository off the main SoftChalk site where teachers have shared lessons and things. So whenever I've been thought about, all right, how would a teacher or a faculty member do a lab, or has anyone ever done this in a physics course or a geometry course or whatever? How could you do that? You know, SoftChalk has a lot of neat activities that are kind of pre-built that you can load in there and then put your content in, put your spin on it, and then when you publish it, it automatically creates the navigation, and you don't need to do all that coding and HTML and JavaScript and all that fun stuff. But other questions, other comments? So this has been great. I really enjoyed this small little session that we had here. Just to recap, you know, we looked at FlipGrid. We looked at some of Amy's examples, how to record, how, you know, limitations, what it can do, things that we don't know that we can explore. Certainly a good way that Amy has been able to inject teacher presence into her course. So it's not just all text. It's not just, threaded discussions or things like that. It's, hey, there's my teacher. She's real, and I can engage with her. And this is an example of one of the lessons that Amy's done in SoftChalk. We talked for a minute about SoftChalk. Also talked for a little bit about Screencastomatic, which is it's the freemium kind of model where there's a free version and a paid version. Claire had a comment here. Yep, it was Zoom. Yep. Happy to answer any more questions or to listen to any creative applications that you all may have generated as part of our little presentation today. Well, Amy, famous last words? I'll throw some famous, maybe not so famous, infamous last words here, but famous last words from your experience, Amy.
Technology doesn't have to be scary. I know my background, I'm not a huge tech person. Jeff's kind of thrown me in and been like, you're going to do it. And SoftChalk has been super easy to learn. FlipGrid has been super easy. Screencast, a lot easier. Everything has turned out to be a whole lot easier than I expected it to be. But I think taking that whole idea of, start small and don't feel like you have to do everything. Choose one thing to try and create those connections and engage your students, and it'll all work out.
Yep. I don't know that I have better words to add to that other than what Amy said. So let your pedagogy and your great experience in the classroom guide what you do with learners. You don't have to learn and know everything. Choose what works for you. And also, I think this is the one thing I'll say that maybe it'll be helpful. You have a community here, or you have one within your personal learning network. Maybe it's at your district, your school, LinkedIn, wherever. Lean on them, share. One thing that you've noticed about a lot of these things, SoftChalk, FlipGrid, is that there's a community that transcends disciplines, that transcends, K-12, higher ed, and people are sharing, teachers and faculty, folks who are involved and committed their lives professionally to teaching and learning, lean on each other. Think of yourself as like the pedagogical cohort, and ask questions, join some Reddit groups, join some LinkedIn groups, form your own. I think that that's how I learn, and I feel supported when I don't know something, or, hey, Amy, how does this work in FlipGrid? Can you import a video? What are the limitations? Should I be using something else? I can't do this particular assessment because I'm limited within the functionality of Google Classroom or Canvas. So don't think that you're alone. I think that you're a part of the broader network that's committed to keeping learning going. So that's all I have to say. So thanks, everybody. Thank you, Amy. Amazing job. Love what you shared today. And I think that Deborah had shared out our contacts, so feel free to reach out and and let's see what we get into in the future. But lots of great questions and comments, and really excited to see what you all do. You can do this because you do it every day in your face-to-face classrooms. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.